Greetings one and all, and welcome to the grand final of the 32nd annual Best Sol Ring Award. Coming to you live from low orbit, as always I'm Red, your host and commentator for the evening. Tonight we have a whopping 19 finalists. Is that right, 19? Good God. And here they are. Don't they all look lovely? I'm sure each and every one of them is hoping to win, and I must say it's been a real challenge for our finalists this year. As you can probably tell from the sheer number of them, there's been a lot of competition out there, so each and every one of these Sol Rings should be proud to have made it this far. Now it's worth noting that tonight's award winner is chosen by the official Sol Ring Awards committee, in conjunction with our panel of in-studio professional judges. But if you want to have your say, don't worry, you'll get the chance to vote on which of these finalists should win the People's Choice Award in a couple of days. There's more information on how to submit your vote for that award at the end of the show, so make sure to stick around. But before that, we obviously have to determine the winner of tonight's award. Votes by the committee have been cast and counted, and I'm hearing confirmation that, yes, our panel of judges are now poised and ready to give their final scores. So without further ado, let's meet our finalists. Contestant number 1 is Sol Ring. Wearing a design by 6VCR, the first of many artists whose name I imagine I'll be butchering tonight, this design appears to be inspired by the set Aether Drift with its racing motif, as the titular Sol Ring is depicted as a steering wheel with the sun rising behind it there. Bit of a controversy with the entry of this finalist, as this Sol Ring was only available as a promo for those that spent over $150 on the Secret Lair Winter Super Drop. I'm not sure how the judges will feel about that, so we'll see if that affects its score in any way. As you can see, it's got on the rules text correct, one of the most important parts of any professional level Sol Ring, and the flavor text reads, "Some cards have a combustion engine, a combustion windshield, and a combustion steering wheel too." Very good. On to our second contestant, Sol Ring comes to us from the Aether Drift Commander line, wearing a design by artist Remy Jacquot, and one that is in a more traditional frame. The judges say they try not to let such things affect them, but I'll personally always have a soft spot for a design that pays homage to their predecessors by upholding the style. I'm guessing from the hieroglyphics in the background of the art that this Sol Ring depicts Amonkhet, and appears to be a series of metal bands orbiting around a ball of light. The rules text says tap to add to, and perhaps the flavor text will shine some light on the design, as it reads, "Our third sun approaches, Naktaman will remember its masters, Verena, monarch of the broken lands." Illuminating. Contestant number 3 is Sol Ring, wearing a design by Piotr Jura, and like contestant number 2 also comes to us from the Aether Drift Commander line. Similarly, again to contestant number 2, this Sol Ring isn't uncommon, though history has taught us a Sol Ring's rarity never plays that much of a factor into how it's scored by the judges. This is a beautifully intricate design with the Sol Ring appearing to be some sort of golden band or bangle, with the plinth it's floating above, at least to my mind, being reminiscent of the one used by the winner of the 22nd annual Best Sol Ring Award. That was the year of the famous Kaladesh inventions for anyone who remembers. But back to this year, and our flavor text reads, "Nissa asked if the light of foreign suns could affect the flora of Avishkar through omen paths. I built a device to capture such light for further testing. Rashmi Aether Seer." Avishkar of course being the new name for Kaladesh, suggesting an intentional connection between this card and the 23rd award winner after all. Contestant number 4 now, Sol Ring, which joins us from the Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander line and is wearing a design by Leon Tucker, who was responsible for the fantastic art on the land Restless Anchorage. If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend checking it out as it is spectacular. What's fun about this card, however, is that the Sol Ring itself is actually made up of a storm on Tarkir designed to defend against dragons, making it an actual Tarkir Dragonstorm, if you will. The rules text is correct, the most important part. Embarrassing for a contestant should they get that wrong at this vital stage of the competition. And the flavor text reads, "Mardu lightning fences are the ingenious synthesis of blacksmith skill and storm singer magic, protecting the Dalkovans from even the most fearsome dragon storms." A popular contestant this year and clearly a fan favourite with a real chance of winning. Contestant number 5 is our second borderless entrant for the evening, Sol Ring, and our second rare too. Wearing a design by Edgewa Ebeneba, commonly known as Edge, you can see the titular Sol Ring appears to be the headband of a dryad. This card was available as part of the Everyone's Invited Secret Lair Commander deck, which contained many colourful designs such as this one, and used shapeshifters to build a deck that revolved around every creature type in the game. The rules text is importantly correct, and the flavor text reads, "Wear starlight like a crown and dare the moon to dance with you," which is very much in keeping with the party vibes from most of the other cards that were featured in that Everyone's Invited deck. Next up, we have contestant number 6, Sol Ring, which is wearing a design by Andrea Tentori Montalto. This is a Sol Ring that, while from the Final Fantasy Commander line, a non-canonical to Magic Lore Universes Beyond product, I would say is the first of the evening to evoke that classic Sol Ring design that we all know and love. Of course, one of the biggest flaws of Universes Beyond is that they don't serve as a particularly good entry point to people who aren't already familiar with the property being depicted, so I can't speak much as to what's actually happening in the design. But regardless, the rules text is correct and the flavor text reads, Magicite is an Esper's power in its purest form. When an Esper dies, Magicite is all that's left behind. Rammer. Perhaps they're talking about an Esper Sentinel there. I'm afraid it's not for me to know. Contestant number 7 is another Final Fantasy entry, Sol Ring. Wearing a design by artist Kevin Glint. Again, this is another Universes Beyond design, so I'm afraid my insight only goes so far as to say this design features some sort of cloudy yellow orb. Perhaps the flavor text will clear up what's happening. I'm not sure how the judges will take to the Universes Beyond entrance this year, as there are quite a number of them, but if they're familiar with the property like Final Fantasy, then I'm sure they'll love them. The rules text is accurate though, always good to see, and the flavor text reads, Naturally formed materia, and look at the size of it, astounding. For the Mako energy to condense into something like this, it must have taken an eternity. Sephiroth, who I know as the long-haired DLC sword boy from Super Smash Bros. Contestant number 8 is our third entry from the Final Fantasy line, Sol Ring. Wearing an eye-catching design from the artist Grace Zhou, who also made an arcane signet for the same line. This time the titular Sol Ring seems to be some kind of decorative loop encircling a blue orb, which if we read the flavor text implies that this is somehow representative of someone's memories. The background does appear to be cracking though, so maybe that memory is about to fail. It taps for 2 mana, and the flavor text reads, Memories are nice, but that's all they are, Riku. A statement I'm not quite sure I'd agree with. Not every memory is nice. But either way, this card is an intriguing depiction to the right person, I'm sure. Contestant number 9 is our final Final Fantasy finalist, if that makes sense, wearing a second design by artist Piotr Jura, who also created the design for contestant number 3, which is something I suspect actually will play into the judges' point scoring decisions this evening, for both contestants I imagine. The particular Sol Ring being depicted here is one of 2, or perhaps both spiked rings floating around what appears to be a big blue stalagmite. But I also think it's worth noting that all of these non-foil Final Fantasy entrants did beat out their Surge foil counterparts to make the finals. The rules text is correct and the flavor text reads, It is said that aetherite is the solid manifestation of the planet's lifeblood, aether, and that by touching it the aether which makes up our bodies resonates with that contained in the crystal. Fair enough. Contestant number 10, Sol Ring, marks the halfway point, from the Nuestra Magic Secret Lair drop, celebrating all things Latin America. Wearing a design here by the artist simply known as Izzy, who is not only responsible for some of my favourite Innistrad designs, seriously look up Grasp of Phantoms, I love that card, it's so creepy in the best way, but is also the artist behind the art for the infamous Shardless Agent. The Sol Ring depicted in the art here is less of a ring to my eye and more of a circular head, but one that certainly has a ring of light around it. The rules text checks out and the flavor text reads, Sue wanders the sky hoping to steal a glance at his love Chia. When we see them reunite, it is time for celebration. Beautiful. We're going to stop now for a short commercial break, but join us again in part 2 when we meet the second half of the contestants.
Come support me on Patreon!
Welcome back to the 32nd Annual Best Sol Ring Award, and let's not waste any time as we meet contestant number 11. Sol Ring, and anyone looking will immediately recognise the face of Sonic the Hedgehog, who seems to be a bit blurry here, probably to represent his gotta go fast speeds. Wearing a design by artist Evan Stanley, this entrant is from the Sonic Chasing Adventures Secret Lair, and curiously features Sonic inside a rainbow-coloured circle, which I feel is an odd choice given how one of the most iconic symbols of the Sonic franchise is literally its golden rings. And unlike Final Fantasy, I've actually played this game, and I can tell you that there are large teleportation rings that Sonic can jump through like he's depicted doing here, but those rings are also gold. So I'm not sure what's happening in this art. Anyway, the rules are correct and the flavor text reads, An adventure's no fun if it's too easy, Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'll be interested to see how this one fares with our judges. Now this is contestant number 12, Sol Ring, who is the bookie's favourite to win. And it certainly seems like a crowd pleaser judging by the looks on the faces of the audience here too. Traditional frame, which goes a long way to winning my favour, but more importantly, this design by artist Stephen Belladin from the Edge of Eternity's Commander line depicts a ring, perhaps for targeting, literally pointed at a sun. The very definition of a Sol Ring. Oh yes, I can see the judges nodding as they confer with each other over this entry too. If rumours are to be believed, this is the frontrunner, and I suspect we may be looking at tonight's winner here, folks. The rules text is accurate, thankfully, and the flavor text reads, all creation in a single point, the point of all creation in all, Sun Star Loop mantra. Now, unlucky for some, contestant number 13 is Soul Ring, the first of 2 Spider-Man themed entrants that we have this evening. Wearing a design by artist Roberta Ingranata, this finalist is from the Marvel Spider-Man villainous plot Secret Lair. I feel given the discourse surrounding the Spider-Man set in general, I don't favour the odds of this contestant winning sadly, but I will say that if you consider the art, at least this depiction from the 2 Spider-Man finalists does make a bit more sense. For you see, that is Dr. Octopus, standing in front of a ring-shaped device designed to generate the power of a sun, which given the rules text of tap to add 2 mana, I personally feel is completely appropriate. The flavor text reads, behold my gift to humanity, stable nuclear fusion, the power of the sun. Dr. Octopus Otto Xavier, which as I say, if you think about it, I believe is on point. But honestly, I do think this contestant is facing an uphill struggle to win, so if there are any fans out there listening, I wouldn't hold your breath. Don't let it be said I never root for the underdog though, because I'm cheering for contestant number 14, Soul Ring, even though it has everything stacked against it. This unusual entrant is our second Spider-Man Soul Ring of the night, from the Marvel Spider-Man Heroic Deed Secret Lair, and is wearing a design by Ted Nock. Not only was Spider-Man not a particularly well-regarded set, but there have been complaints that this specific design of a belt reflecting some light depicts neither the sun nor a ring. But if that fact will affect the points, only the judges can say. At least the rules text is correct, but as you'll see from the flavor text, perhaps there is some validity to the complaints. I mostly wear this utility belt to store my extra web fluid capsules, but check out some of my other neat gadgets I've been able to cram into it. Spider-Man Peter Parker. Like I say, I'm rooting for this entrant, but unless one of those gadgets is the sun, or a ring, my hopes for this finalist aren't high. Contestant number 15, Soul Ring, which beat out its confetti foil variant to be here, and is a non-foil Soul Ring from the Furby Do A Nula Secret Lair, wearing a design by artist Nathan Juravicious, which has certainly provoked quite a reaction from the audience here. I'm not really sure how to describe the look on the judges' faces, that's for certain. The design features a Furby, a children's animatronic toy popular 30 years ago. The rules text is accurate, but the flavor text reads, Nulu Bo Wailus Ko Melas. So there we have it, make of that what you will. Contestant 16 is Soul Ring, and another contestant that, much like contestant number 1, was only available via indirect means, in this instance being distributed alongside the October 2025 Sony Secret Lair drop. The design by artist Bill McConkey features a truck with a flaming head on it, which is perhaps the element of the art that's supposed to be the Soul Ring? And once again, this is a Universes Beyond design that this time is from a franchise I don't even recognise. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to remind you all that tonight's award is chosen by the judges and the committee, but you'll have the chance to have your say in which of tonight's finalists will win the People's Choice Award in a couple of days. More information on how to submit your vote at the end of the show, so do stick around. Oh, and the flavor text on this card reads, I'll find you Calypso, Sweet Tooth. I believe that was the name of a couple of Pirates of the Caribbean characters. If not, I'm sure someone watching understands. Next up, contestant 17, Soul Ring, is a non-foil which beat out its Halo foil variant to be here, from the Secret Lair Countdown Encyclopedia of Magic. If you're unfamiliar with what that even is, don't worry, you're not alone. Wearing an intriguing design by artist Souther Salazar that I can only really vaguely describe at best, I feel. It's a smiley face on a painted seashell, held in place by a big magic S that's floating inside what appears to be a volcano. No flavor text this time, which I suspect the judges won't look favourably on, and it means that I'm lacking any context to understand which part of this design is the Soul Ring, or what is actually being depicted and why it's being depicted this way. An intriguing entrant all the same though. Contestant 18, Soul Ring from the Avatar The Last Airbender Eternal line. Another Universes Beyond set, wearing a design by Barbara Rosiak, the Soul Ring depicted is a necklace featuring the symbol for airbending. And while what I'm about to say may just be my personal preference, I would have thought that rather than an airbending necklace, perhaps something related to firebending would have been more appropriate, as if I remember much of a firebender's power is derived from the sun. But regardless, the rules text is correct and the flavor text reads, the road ahead of us is challenging, 100 years of fighting has left the world scarred and divided, but with the Avatar's help we can get it back on the right path and begin a new era of love and peace. Zuko. And contestant 19, Soul Ring, is our final entrant of the evening, from the Monster Hunter Secret Lair. Wearing a design by artist Lei Yamamura, we can see the Soul Ring depicted is... wait one moment. I apologise, everyone watching. There appears to be... I'm getting reports that some sort of a fight has broken out backstage, apparently. It appears... Yes. There they are. The Pinkertons have arrived. Hasbro's jackbooted thugs have forced their way into the studio. They're making their way to the green room, and apparently they're arresting contestant number 19. Can they do that? Well, I'm getting reports. Apparently, they're saying this contestant has fallen short of WotC expectations and is being pulled away. Yeah, no, it's confirmed. This Soul Ring has been cancelled. I don't really know what to say. Well, I guess that's all of tonight's finalists. I think our judges are, well... let's take one last look at those remaining finalists while our judges compose themselves and make their final decisions. Before we find out the winner of tonight's award, you should know that the awards aren't over yet, as in a few days you'll be able to vote for the winner of the People's Choice Award. It's a two-step process. First, leave a comment to this video below for whichever of tonight's finalists you think is most worthy to be nominated for the People's Choice Award. Then in a few days, those comments will be counted and your votes will be tallied up, and the top 4 entrants who received the most amount of comments will be entered into a poll. At that point, the wider public will be able to vote on the poll, and whichever of those 4 finalists goes on to get the highest percentage of that poll's vote will be officially declared as the winner of the 32nd People's Choice Award for Best Soul Ring. So leave a comment stating your favourite of tonight's finalists, and in a few days vote in the poll. Easy as pie. And with that, our judges are finished, which means I've been given the envelope, and I am very pleased to announce that the winner for the 32nd Annual Best Soul Ring Award is... Soul Ring! What a well-deserved win, don't they look thrilled? The bookies were right, and I must say it was an incredibly hard-earned victory. So many contestants this year, but Soul Ring was the frontrunner from the very first round. And it's easy to see why. Not a single mistake made throughout this entire competition, and a real example to any Soul Rings out there watching. Well everyone, that brings us to the end of the 32nd Annual Best Soul Ring Award, but do join us again next year for the 33rd Annual Best Soul Ring Award. I hope you'll join us again, but until that time, I've been your host Red, I thank you for watching, and I wish you good night. Thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone who supports me, like 27 Publications, Eggboy the Particle that permeates all existence, Blank Space, Wanpako Jozu, Miss Murder, a random Patreon, Ominous Jazz, and the rest of my patrons whose names are on screen now. I'd also like to thank the sponsor for this video, me and my Patreon page, where you can get your name credited on screen too. Check it out in the link in the description below. Hit the like button, leave a comment, install an ad block, most importantly subscribe and share this video with a friend. Hit the notification bell and do all those things the algorithm loves. If you agree or disagree with any of my points, or you want to see me do a video on another subject, let me know and I'll see you next time.